I'm sure most of us have felt some of those symptoms of feeling anxious or overwhelmed. I know for some people it is very debilitating. Most likely there's nothing actually wrong with you, it's just that your nervous system is stuck in go mode. Most of us try to relax or calm ourselves down with our mind. The reality is that our mind will listen a lot more to our breath than it will to our thinking. It's much more like a bottom-up than a top-down situation. Your nervous system runs throughout your body and it's an integral part of you surviving each and every day. It takes on many roles, it's a front line of defense, and it is a resource allocator. We receive millions of bits of information each and every second. We're receiving this information and our body responds in order for us to operate normally, function well, and really it's all about survival. So these are basic and intrinsic survival instincts for our body. When you think about the role that it plays in receiving this information, it's a lot like threat assessment. And then it responds accordingly and sends resources of chemical or movement or messages to our body in order to keep us alive. The basic way to think about your autonomic nervous system, and it's autonomic because it happens without us thinking, is two major players. We have the sympathetic, which is activating, or you might know it as the fight or flight side, and then we have parasympathetic, which is the relaxing or the rest and digest side. I want you to think not so much as a red light and a green light, much more like a teeter-totter, and that the way in which our body responds tends to put us into a sympathetic dominant state or a parasympathetic dominant state. The good news is that we can use our breath to influence and change the state that we are in moment to moment. So our breath is the quickest and most accessible way for us to be able to create influence and change, whether we're sympathetic dominant or parasympathetic dominant. It is no accident the relationship between our breath and the physical and non-physical parts of us is both intricate and profound. Faster and or shallower breathing tends to put us into an activating or sympathetic dominant state, and lower, slower breathing tends to put us into a relaxed state. When we inhale and leave our air full in our lungs, that tends to be activating, and when we exhale and relax in certain situations with a neutral lung, it tends to be more relaxing. When our body feels safe, it enables us to downshift into that parasympathetic dominant state. So think about our breath as the remote control to our autonomic nervous system. Nervous system regulation, why is it important and what are some of the benefits? When you think about regulating your nervous system, again, keeping in mind that most of this is happening without us knowing or understanding, it is a little bit like conditioning a muscle. The work that you are able to do to condition a muscle keeps it more able and ready to act in a beneficial way when you need it. Our nervous system acts in a similar way. We can think about it of having a baseline, and if we improve that baseline, when we deviate away from our baseline through a stress state or an activated or sympathetic dominant situation, when we have worked that muscle, we are able to come back to a place of stasis or baseline much more quickly. So regulation of our nervous system enables us to come down much more quickly from a stressed or activated state. It also will improve the ability for us to control our emotions. Now that doesn't mean that we're going to end up being, robotic, static, unemotive beings. It just means that when that train leaves the station, we are able to bring it back to the station in a much more comfortable way. It improves our sleep, and it enables us to have faster recovery from stress, whether that's physical in nature or mental or non-physical in nature. So it's not about not feeling stress, it's about the ability for us to recover quickly from those activated states. The more you practice, the more your body realizes and learns that calm is something that's available to it, and it's not something that has to chase or seems elusive. What breathwork techniques can I use in order to influence my nervous system. The most studied breath work on nervous system regulation is coherence breathing, or 5-5. I've talked about it before, and it is simply breathing in for 5 and breathing out for 5. You want to be doing a low, slow nasal inhale for a count of 5 seconds, and ideally a low, slow, steady nasal exhale for a count of 5 seconds. You want to do this technique for a minimum of 3 minutes, ideally 5, and do it 3 times a day when you are in low stress situations. So maybe it's when you first wake up and when you go to bed, and one other time during the day when you are relaxed. This will help improve that baseline, improve your HRV and vagal tone, and as it activates that parasympathetic dominant signal in our body. The other breathwork technique that you can use is called 4-7-8, often called the cadence of bliss. And what that looks like is we do an inhale to a full lung with a little pressure for a count of 4. We then hold our breath with that full lung for a count of 7, then a long, slow, steady exhale for a count of 8. This low, steady exhale enables us to activate that parasympathetic dominant signal in our body, giving us a sense of relaxation. The way to use this is to do that for 4 cycles of that breath work, then take a 30-second to a minute break, and then if you feel like you have the need, you do that for another 4 cycles. So that's a breath work pattern of about 21 seconds. So you're doing 4 of those, take a little break, 4 of those again if you feel the need. So that's a lot of information, and we really only scratch the surface of what your nervous system is and does for your body. The important thing to understand is that you can, with consistent practice, not only gain control and influence, but improve your ability to do so when activated. Improving that baseline, improving that HRV and vagal tone will enable you to get firmly back into the driver's seat when those symptoms of anxiety, overwhelm, and overthinking come on. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about breathwork nomenclature. Did I say that right? I've had a lot of questions as with this explosion of breathwork and its popularity. What do some of the terms mean, how to use them, and what people are talking about when they talk about breathwork? So in the next episode, we're going to demystify any of those terms that people use in order to make breathwork sound a lot more complicated than it actually is. I look forward to chatting with you then.